and felt like a teenager again. Cora, the head bitch, gaily walked in front, and the young entry following tried to imitate their leader. The second-year hounds acted like the sophomores they were. Truly wise idiots, they at least knew better than to float out of the pack. As they walked, the hounds kicked up little puffs of gravel dust. Inquisitive grasshoppers flew tantalizingly close to their black, moist noses, darting away in the nick of time. Raleigh, Sister's devoted Doberman, flattened his ears to block out the din of the hounds. He considered himself hunt staff, and if a youngster strayed from the group, Raleigh pushed him back in before a human could react. Hounds, like humans, thought the better of getting into an argument with a Doberman. Dr. Walter Lundgren, young, blond, and athletic, was walking next to Bobby Franklin, who was huffing and puffing. "God damn that Betty," Bobby said, cursing his wife loudly. "Told me if I don't do hound walk and lose 50 pounds, she's going to divorce me." "She won't have to divorce you. You'll die first," Sister called back to him. "Probably why she wants you on these morning jaunts, Bobby. She'll inherit your enormous wealth," Walter added, knowing quite well that Bobby and Betty both worked like dogs at Franklin Printing and weren't amassing any great fortune for it. "You notice I only drag my ass out when I know you're going to be here, Doc. If I grab my chest, you'll know what to do," Bobby winked. Sister noticed a hound's head come up, drawn by an enticing aroma lifting off the meadows. "Nellie, settle," Sister quietly said, and Nellie dispelled her brief notion of making a wild break for the rising fox scent. They walked and chatted for another half-mile, then returned home by the route they had come. At the covered bridge, Shaker noticed Peppermint stretched out by the creekside. Eyes sharp, he turned to face his pack. "Hold up." The hound stopped. "What's up?" Betty asked as she pushed a stray lock of blonde hair off her forehead. "Walter, go over there and check on Peppermint, will you?" Shaker called back to the physician. Walter, a former star halfback at Cornell, put one hand on the top rail of the fence and gracefully vaulted over it. He loped to the unmoving horse, who was being watched over by his two old friends. Walter called to Peppermint. No response. When he reached the aged animal, he knelt down and felt Peppermint's neck for a pulse. "Oh, Pepper, what a good horse you were." He gently patted the dead animal's neck, then rose and recrossed the green meadow back to the waiting group. He leaned over the fence and simply said, "Gone." Sister lowered her head for several moments as the news sank in. She'd known this horse for more than 3 decades. As sad as she was, Teddy would be devastated. "Shaker, Bobby, take the hounds back to the kennels," she instructed. "Betty and Walter, if you can spare the time, stay with me. We need to bury this fellow before Teddy comes out and finds him. She loved him so." Sister paused. "A last link with Nola. And it is July. He'll blow up fast," Shaker said under his breath. Then he called to the hounds in a sing-song voice, "Come along." The hounds followed after him, though Cora couldn't help a glance over her shoulder at the horse she remembered well. "Walter, do you mind finding one of Teddy's men? Just ask him to meet us at the bridge with the backhoe. Button his lip. I'll tell Teddy once we've properly buried Peppermint." Walter jogged across the bridge as Betty and Sister went to the carcass at Creek's edge. Betty knelt down to touch the large shoulder. What a great one he was. "Godspeed, Peppermint. You had a wonderful life." Sister, with Raleigh at her side, consoled Domino and Mary Andrew before sitting down beside Peppermint. "Jesus, Betty, I'm getting old. I remember Pepper when he was steel gray. He's pure white now." She referred to the fact that gray horses born dark lighten in color as they age. "Remember the time Teddy hit every fence perfectly in the hunter trials? Teddy couldn't find her distance if you gave her a measuring tape. But by God, she won the blue ribbon that year. I think it was one of the happiest moments of her life." Betty continued stroking the animal's beautiful gray head. "He did it for her. Pepper didn't much like showing. He liked hunting." Betty smiled, marveling at the capacity.